All right, everybody. How is everybody doing? Just going to wait a couple of minutes because no one is in here yet. But for those of you who will come on and watch the replay, thank you so much for watching the replay. Um, let's come on in. Um, gonna get started. I'm not gonna be before you long. And I'm just gonna plug into some other devices. Um, I hope everyone is having a wonderful Thursday. And it's almost the weekend, or some people's weekend have already started. So I'm just gonna wait before ones come in before I introduce myself. And it's Thursday. We do therapy Thursday. We also did a post for Wednesday wisdom as well. If I don't go live on Wednesday, I do a post or a video. And on Mondays, we go over the weekly motivation. But today is Therapy Thursday. So we always come on. I give announcements at the beginning of the week and middle of the week. So I do have an announcement today about the podcast. I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes before others come in. Let's see. I'm going to jump on my new Vap app. Let's see. Just going to play some music before we get started. All right, you all, we are into 5 minutes already. Time is going by fast. I just wanted to get on the Noon Vibe app because I haven't been on my app in a couple of weeks, and it might have been more than a couple of weeks, but I wanted to jump on for this Therapy Thursday when I can because I have some meetings this evening, so I knew I wouldn't be able to get on live later this evening. So just going to go ahead and get started. For those of you who come in, thank you for tuning in. My name is Karen Oliver. I am a master life purpose coach, a health coach, an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, that is. A lot of you who follow me know that I'm a podcaster. And speaking of podcasts, we are in season 4 on the Dream Fearless podcast. And again, we have connected our name to our brand as a whole. WCD Coaching stands for Women Committed to Dreams, which is the podcast is a part of the brand. That was our first extension. We do have a clothing line, and I'm wearing it now. I'm wearing one of the cashmere sweaters. It is Dream Fearless. Um, I'm sorry, Fearless Dream, Fearless Daughters Catch Dreams. I'm sorry. So we also use Dream Fearless. So we have Dream Fearless and then Fearless Daughters Catch Dreams. And so it's a clothing apparel for the whole line. So we want to make sure that in season 4 that our podcast name uh, went with um, all of the brands. And so I am the owner of WCD Coaching Incorporated, um, Dream Fearless Podcast, and the Fearless Daughters Dream Apparel. And we also go by Dream Fearless um, Apparel as well. Um, and there's a couple more things that I do. But again, like I said, I'm a serial entrepreneur. And again, going back to the podcast, we do have a live episode that we're going to be recording tonight. It will stream at 7 p.m. And then later it will be uploaded on all podcast platforms if you're not able to watch the live podcast episode will be um, playing on YouTube live. But again, if you're not able to catch it live, you will be able to catch it later on all podcast platforms. And so, again, as I reiterated earlier, this week, actually last week, starting in October the 2nd or 3rd, I think I came on and shared that October is Dream Fearless Podcast Health Month. And so I shared that I would be um, talking about health all month. We'll be speaking with professional guests and other guests, close peers, about their different conditions that they have been through or different diagnoses and illnesses that they are currently dealing with or had to deal with in the past. And so our podcast is dedicated to health on this month. I have started recording for November because the second week of November we will stop recording because the holidays will be approaching and people will be uh, pretty much going out of town or either just slowing down. Hey, everybody coming on the New Vibe app. I see you and everybody on LinkedIn and YouTube. First week in November. And I definitely will be sharing out those flyers just so you'll know ahead of time. November, basically, we have a theme for every month. And I wanted to get back on target with starting um, back having that theme every month of what we would discuss on the podcast. And so in November, we're going to be talking about building family and building businesses. And so I am recording for November. If there's anyone who desire to come on the podcast, there are ways to get in touch with me by email or filling out the podcast guest form. So, yeah, that was all with the podcast. Again, tune in live tonight at 7 p.m. to catch episode 137, season 4 with me. Um, I'm excited. So um, let's get started. I'm trying to see if there's any more announcements that I would like to share. I think that was all that we will be going live tonight. And so that's why I'm doing this live now for Therapy Thursday. The title is Waiting for the Right Time. And just want to encourage everybody. Um, we actually talked about um, waiting. I would say probably in August. I think we did August or September. I can't remember what month, but it was really previously we talked about waiting, and my spirit just brought me back to that word about waiting for the right time. And I honestly believe it is important for us to wait for the right times, the right situations, um, the right promotion, uh, the right program, the right schooling, and I'm just naming some things. Um, it's important for us to wait until the right time to even start a business. And although we are starting these businesses, although we are entrepreneurs, we want to make sure that we identify that it is important to wait to the right time to go do what we need to do, because sometimes we will start in different areas. The Lord can give us things that we should do. He can speak those things, and I just shared that on my recording. um, the recording that I did with my sister in November, we were talking about how there are several things, there are multiple things that we can do in our lives, and there are things that God has spoken to us about, but we want to make sure that we are exercising in the right season and exercising in the right time. um, there's also things that has been confirmed about us about our marriage, or um, our relationship, uh, about a job, a certain position, a certain promotion. There's things has been revealed in our life, naturally and spiritually, and those things that have been spoken, we have to make sure that we receive them with clarity, and we have to make sure that we identify that, is this the right time, and is the right season. There are some of us that we've been waiting on things for a years now, and although those things have been spoken to us, and although the Spirit of the Lord has assured us of those things to come, we still have to be mindful that that there's still some things that are being done behind the scenes that we need to wait for. And He knows that our heart is bursting out, and He knows that we are longing for these things. But we want to make sure that we just step back and let Him do the work and wait for the right timing. So waiting for the right time is very, very important. And like I said, it's easier said than done. And again, for those of you who are coming on, we talked about this before. Waiting for the right time, having the patience to wait for the right time. And a lot of us are in our waiting season for different things. There are some things that have already come to pass that we're waiting for, but then a lot of us still are waiting on other things to come to pass. And that's normal, because we have more than one desire. We have more than one need, and the Holy Spirit knows that. But we have to be mindful in just standing still and trusting Him and waiting for the right time for these things to come along. There are a lot of things that we're good at, um, you know, business wise, professionally, personally. There are a lot of things that uh, we know that we can do. There's a lot of things that we know we can create. There's a lot of things that we know that we can build. But again, we still have to wait for that right time. And as the Holy Spirit brought back to my remembrance, as I was studying this morning and meditating, um, and we talked about this previously. And when I was in Psalm chapter 25, verses 3 through 6, David said, "Do not." The King of David said, "Do not be ashamed to wait. Your waiting will not be in vain." And your waiting would not be in vain, just like First Corinthians says in 15 and 58. We have to make sure that we're um, still moving and being steadfast in the things that God has called us to do. We got to make sure that our hands are still working, that our feet are still working, that we're still going. And sometimes it gets rough and we get tired. And sometimes, you got to take that moment to say, I'm not doing this in vain. I know that everything I ask for is going to come to pass, because He've already assured me, He've already told me. But again, as I read again on this morning, do not be ashamed to wait on the Lord. Do not be ashamed to wait on the Lord. And your waiting is definitely not going to be in vain. Your waiting is going to be more than what you expected. Your waiting is going to be more than what you asked for. just like Ephesians 3:20 says, that God is going to do above and beyond of everything that we've asked for. And so we have to keep our minds focused and stayed on that the waiting is not going to be in vain, although it's tough. And also too, we may not understand everything 100%, but what he does do is he gives us an assurance, and he gives us a clear understanding of his word. His word is clear. And sometimes we can try to, you know, uh, wrap our mind around our own feelings and our own thoughts, and we be trying to think of something outside the box, but it doesn't matter. It's what, our understanding needs to go on. Just, peace, calmness, what his word says, what he said he's going to do for us, and we know that he's going to be on time. We have to know that everything that we have need of, everything that we desire, is going to be on time, and we have to know that it's going to be on time, and it's going to be when we definitely um when we unexpected. It's definitely going to come when we're not even thinking. Even though we're always thinking about some of the things, when we're waiting on something, we're always thinking about it. And it brings me back to the book of Proverbs. I think it's in either chapter 13 or 14, where it talks about hope deferred maketh the heart sick, but when the desire cometh, it is a tree of life. So we're always hoping for that thing, and we're always praying, and we're always seeking God, and we're always just grasping in the fact that we know this is going to come. We're getting ready, like we know it's going to come, and we know that it is, and that's our faith talking, because we are exercising in that faith, and we have to exercise in our faith. But again, as we look at that and read that, hope deferred maketh the heart sick, but when it comes, it will be a tree of life. So like I said, you're waiting. Our waiting is definitely not going to be in vain. Like I said, we're going to receive, that abundance, even for just trusting him and waiting, even in those areas that we're waiting in. And so we got to keep our own self too accountable, and we got to make sure that we are staying on the right task. Because it's easy to fall off. It's easy for our minds to wander. It's easy for us to start complaining and grumbling. It's easy for us to start saying, well, when this, when that. It's easy for us to look at everybody else and be like, okay, well, Lord, I'm doing things right, and I'm doing what I need to do in the kingdom. And I may not do everything right because nobody's perfect, but I'm like, Lord, I'm doing what's required. And I'm waiting, and I'm trusting. And then sometimes we're like looking at other people, and we're like, well, dog, they ain't even wait that long. But we have to take our mind off of the fact that, again, I shared this before, that everybody has a divine destined time. The way that God has to come quickly for somebody else is because he needs to do something. And he needs to do it in a timely manner. And your timely manner is going to be different than somebody else, than your sisters or brothers. Because sometimes we look at that, well, darn, that happened fast with them. But we don't know their story, and we don't know what they've been going through. We don't know how long we waited. We don't know their situation. Only God knows everybody's destiny and everybody's situation. We don't know other people's situation, so we don't know what he had to do for our sister and brother. We don't know what we had to do. We don't know what he had to do for that family. So we have to keep that in mind, because I know we once all have said that before, because I know I said that before. And again, we don't know the circumstances, but he does. And it doesn't mean that he's not coming for you. It doesn't mean that he's not gonna bless you. It doesn't mean that he's not going to give you what he said that he was going to give you. It's just that we have to wait for the right time, and we have to know that, his word is true, so he cannot lie. And so I just want us to be encouraged on this Therapy Thursday to know that we have to continue to wait for the right times in our life. Um, you just, like I said, you just never know. You just never know the different situations that other people go through. And so that's when it'll take our mind off of us because it's not about us. Um, it's about, standing still, and it's about letting God do what he needs to do in each and every individual's life. And so I hope this helped you all on today, and feel free to share this out. Again, for those of you who just came on, um, just to reiterate, we do have a live podcast tonight that will be streaming on YouTube at 7 p.m. Again, if you're not able to catch it, you can catch it later on all podcast platforms where it will be streaming. Again, October is the month of health for the Dream Fearless podcast, so we will only be talking about health um, on for this whole month of October. Again, I have already went into November recording for November. Again, November is building brands, uh, as building families and building brands at the same time, and how you are able to maneuver through the hustle and bustle as a family with the brand, and how you're able to catch up on things. So we're going to be talking about families and businesses and in November, and how you know how to keep that brand alive, how to keep that marriage together, how to continue to be the mother and father that you've been called to be, while doing multiple things. So we'll be talking about that in November. Again, I've started recording, so if you're interested in November, go ahead and shoot me an email if you're interested in talking about health this month. In October, come on, we're going to be talking about um, people's different diagnoses, or the diagnosis that they used to have, ways that they are coping with it, giving ways to prevent it. And so, again, make sure you reach out. And also, too, I do still have my open enrollment um, available up until I may keep it open until the 1st of November. Right now, I am doing something special up until the 15th only, and that's it. But the first week in November, the enrollment will be closed. So if you are interested in life purpose coaching or business coaching, life coaching is a dual enrollment because it's life coaching and health coaching. And I know sometimes a lot of you don't hear me say um, uh the health coaching, but just to reiterate, the life purpose coaching program is a dual enrollment, so it comes with health coaching if you definitely need it. And that's why this month of October we are strictly talking about health. Not only that, we're talking about health mentally and physically. Again, for some of you who don't know me, I do health coaching. I know how to do health assessments, um, and just coaching you and teaching you about your body, how to identify when something is wrong with your body. It's a lot of things to health coaching, so it's very extensive, and we do have some webinars that we have done that is on my YouTube channel, um, as far as different types of health and nutrition, mentally and physically. We talked about leaky gut. We talked about health mentally. So we have a lot of things that we have already discussed. But I know some of you all don't hear me say it as much. Um, because again, it's a dual enrollment with the life coaching package or whatever. But anyway, this month is strictly health. We're strictly talking about health mentally and physically. So we're going to hear some great stories. You're going to hear a story of my own for some of you who did not catch my story on season 1 and season 2. You still can go back and listen, but I will be just summarizing a little bit with my guests about my story as well, returning to health. So thank you all for tuning in. I'm looking forward to you all coming back on and listening to the podcast and giving feedback and everything. And I hope you all have a great weekend until I see you again next week. All right. Have a great day.